Shavua Tov, everyone. Welcome, welcome to Till's Tell Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is Only One Extra Letter. I adapted it from the book Stories My Grandfather Told Me by Rabbi Zev Greenwald, who heard it from Rabbi Yaakov David Weintraub of Bnei Brak, grandson of Rabbi Abraham Sofer, the story's hero. It took place in the second week of Elul, as is now. In cities and towns throughout Eastern Europe, in bustling Bati Midrashim, study halls, and in overflowing hearts, Hasidim were preparing for their upcoming trips to their rebbe, to see their rebbes, with whom they would spend the impending high holy days. Already they were immersed in the spiritual work of this special month, the final one of the year leading into Rosh Hashanah. And they filled their days with Torah and good deeds, and stole hours of the night to do the same. Who could sleep with the daily shofar blast echoing in the chambers of his heart? Rabbi Yaakov David had been living for years in Plavna, a small town on the banks of the Wart River, not far from the large city of Radomsk. He too would have liked to find a few extra hours, or even a few extra minutes at night, but he could find none. He spent all his time involved in Torah and the holy service of prayer. Winter and summer, he would rise to begin his work at midnight. He would learn Torah, review Mishnayos, and dip into the Zohar, the primary text of Kabbalah, and Chovot HaLavavot, the classic book, Duties of the Heart, until the morning light. He would greet the dawn with Tehillim, saying psalms, reciting psalms, which he would say with great sweetness and warmth, his eyes dripping tears onto verse after verse, until the time came for a quick visit to the mikveh and the Shachrit morning prayer in shul. Afterwards, still wrapped in his tefillin, he would continue his in-depth learning of Talmud and his commentaries until midday, when he would finally revive himself with a little food. This is the way he conducted himself all his life. That night, the 12th of Elul, was no different. Although it was the yahrzeit of Rabbi Simcha-Bunim of Peshischa, the holy rebbe who had left his incredible stamp on Polish Jewry and opened for many the floodlights of wisdom and fear of heaven. Rabbi Simcha-Bunim of Peshischa, who passed on the 12th of Elul, as is tonight, in 1827, spent many years as a businessman and a pharmacist before accepting the mantle of Hasidic leadership. He was a beloved disciple of the seer of Lublin and of the holy Yid whom he succeeded. Known in Poland and Galicia as a Rebbe of Rebbes, his major disciples included the Kotzker Rebbe and the first Rebbes of Ger and Alexander. Rabbi Yaakov David of Plavna was a disciple of Rabbi Bunim, a disciple of Rabbi Bunim, and his Rebbe's fire burned in his own veins. On the 12th day of Elul, Rabbi Yaakov David completed his day's work, consigning his soul to God for the night and closing his eyes for a little sleep. It would soon be midnight when he would rise again to perform God's holy work. But he did not get even an hour's sleep. Just a few minutes later, Rabbi David woke from his heart, pounding from a dream. In his dream, he saw his father-in-law, the holy tzaddik, Rabbi Avraham Sofer, who was living in the nearby city of Radomsk already for many years. Rabbi Avraham had been a disciple of Rabbi Bunim of Peshischa and a close friend of Rabbi Shlomo HaKohen Rabinowitz, the first Rebbe of Radomsk. He was also a sought-after scribe who devoted himself body and soul to his holy work. He had once even written tefillin for his Rebbe, Rabbi Bunim. In this dream, Rabbi Avraham said to him, "Please, dear son-in-law, get up and travel to Radomsk. When you get there, go to the shul of the Ger Hasidim, where you will find the last Torah scroll I wrote. Open it and please erase the extra vav that I wrote in Parshas Bamidbar, in verse so-and-so. That's the only error in the entire scroll. I apologize for the trouble, but please." Suddenly, Rabbi Avraham disappeared, and the dream ended. Rabbi Yaakov David jumped out of bed, bewildered and confused. The Peshischa Hasidim lived all their lives to keep their feet on the ground. They were not especially attuned to dreams. How then had his father-in-law appeared in his dream? Rabbi David knew his father-in-law's pious ways and the care he took with the holy work he did. Every drop of ink that Rabbi Avraham used was infused with love and awe of God. He always also knew what the Holy Zohar had to say about an extra letter had been forbid in the Torah. And of the tzaddikim who were pushed out of their place in the heavenly Shiva because of an extra vav or a yud. Nevertheless, he still did not understand how Rabbi Avram had come to appear him in a dream on the night of his great Rebbe's yahrzeit. If what his father had said in the dream was true, why didn't he fix the problem himself? And if it was hard for Rabbi Avram to get to shul, why not ask the scroll be brought to him? After all, the holiness of the Torah scroll is not valid if it contains an error, God forbid. How had Rabbi Avram suddenly come to learn that there was an error in this particular Sefer Torah after all these years? And most of all, why send a message to his son-in-law in this strange way? Why not deliver it with one of the many travelers between Radomsk and close by Plena? Cutting his thoughts short, Rabbi Yaakov David ran as fast as he could to home. His good friend was also a student of Rabbi Avram Sofer. Together the two hastened down the road to Radomsk. They reached the city with the dawn. And the first stop would be Rabbi Avram's house in order to find out whether the dream had been true. Then they changed their mind. The dream had not asked Rabbi Avram David to pay a visit to his father-in-law's house, but rather to correct the error in the Torah scroll. Perhaps Rabbi Avram had not sent the message via a human messenger, but rather through a dream because of a great need for haste. Accordingly, the two hurried directly to the Gera Shul. Respectfully, they removed the Sefer Torah from the ark and laid it on the reader's table. They rolled it back to the beginning of Parshat Bamidbar as their eyes raked for the words for the error. They found it at once, glaring out at them. The dream had been accurate. Pulling out a sharp knife, Rabbi Yaakov David scraped the extra vav from the parchment. With trembling hands, they returned the Sefer Torah to the ark. It had not been a trivial dream, but a true one, though many things were still unclear to Rabbi Yaakov David. With pounding heart, he and his friend left the shul. They raced down the street towards Avram Sofer's house, eager to hear the explanation of the dream from his own lips. As they reached the house, Rabbi Yaakov David noticed a large crowd gathered outside the door. It was a funeral procession. People had come from every corner of the city to pay their last respects to Avram Sofer, who had departed the world on that night of his Rebbe's yahrzeit, the 12th of Elul, as tonight. Suddenly, the answers to all the questions became clear. Why had Rabbi Avram appeared in a dream instead of fixing the error himself? How had he learned about the mistake that had been hidden from him during the last years of his life? Why hadn't he sent word with a human messenger? His holy soul had left the body that very night, which is the explanation, but had found its passage blocked by the extra vav in the last Torah scroll he had written. Rabbi Avram hastened to appear to his son-in-law in the depths of the night to plead for his final rectification. Step by step, Rabbi Yaakov David walked behind his great father-in-law's funeral procession on Rabbi of Peshischa's yahrzeit, his eyes cast down and in his mind trembling from the starting events of that evening. Well, my friends, from the 12th of Elul till tonight, it's only 2 weeks and 4 nights until Rosh Hashanah. Time indeed to start trembling. Shavua Tov and Shana Tova.